Morning, good afternoon, good evening, and I know it's night for some people in the world. This is Apostle S. Constancia Kariuki coming to you live from Nairobi, Kenya. It is afternoon here. As we're on the other side of the world, I know most of you are there in the US, where is home for me, but right now I'm at my house in Kenya. I want to tell you some things. I promised you the last time we spoke that I will tell you about some differences. Things that are not in magazines, are not in newspapers, are not obviously written anywhere. There are some obvious things, and I will talk about the obvious things real quickly. So they have simply the best climate as far as I'm concerned. Now, I live in Florida, so we know 80% of the time we can just call it hot. There's no in between. It does don't even bother look at the thermometer. It's hot. I was also born in Jamaica, so I know what heat is. And I know the world over says we have the best climate. But sometimes hot is too hot. You shouldn't need AC everywhere. It's not good for your skin. But anyways, we have managed with it and we have managed and loved it. But I've come to a place where it is so temperate. It never snows here, so don't think it's going to get cold, but it stays cool. Even as we're speaking, we are 2 days away from the summer solstice, so it's supposed to be already getting warmish. I woke up yesterday morning, it was 63 degrees Fahrenheit. I need to make sure I say it's Fahrenheit. I speak from the other side. So today I want to talk to you about differences. One of the differences is the climate. It's very different, but also the way they count the temperature. We use Fahrenheit in the United States, and on this side we use Celsius. So I think 63 is about 15 or 14. I'm still working it out. I've only been here a month. Don't hold me hostage to it. I did not say I'm a meteorologist. I'm an apostle. Okay, I can tell you the temperature is in the spirit, but right now the Celsius and the Fahrenheit scale. So for those of you in the States, you understand 63 degrees and you're approaching summer does not happen. All the same, in the daytime, you can wear something cool. Okay, you're fine, but make sure you never leave home without a sweater. I notice people around here have puff coats in the evenings. I don't think it's that cold, frankly, but it can be chilly. Last night we went out to a place by the waterfront and water and cool and breeze. Hey, I was really having not such a good time. So of course they have a different system. So they operate on the metric system while we use pounds, they use grams, so on and so forth. When I go weigh myself and the scale is in grams, I get excited for like 2 seconds because I forget that it's not in pounds. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I almost lost half my body weight, but not really so. When you check it out, it's grams, it's kilograms and not, it's grams and not pounds. So then those are some things that you work your way around as you go. So here's a joke for you. I went to the grocery store and I told the guy I started to say, oh, I need 2 pounds of ground beef. I was cooking for like 4 people, myself included. And he said, oh, we don't do pounds. We do grams. So I said, okay, give me 2 grams. And he's piling on this. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, you asked for 2 grams. I said, I changed my mind. Give me half of that. So I'm learning how to order, understanding the differences in the scale. And of course, we use miles when we're driving. Here, they use kilometers. So, things that we're getting used to. So these are some of the differences. Now, of course, talking about language, let's go to language. So the difference here, of course, is that the main language, the national language of Kenya are 2. So there are 2 national languages. One is English and the other is Swahili. In English, it's called Swahili. In Swahili, it's called Kiswahili. And in Swahili, English is called Kiingereza. Where I'm working on my tongue. They roll a lot of R's around here. So I'm learning. But the average Kenyan will tell you, oh, we speak English. English is our main language. Everybody speaks English. It is true and not really true. People will first approach you with Swahili. That's what I found it to be. Swahili first, and then you'll say, "Oh, sorry, I don't speak Swahili." And then they'll go, "Oh, I speak English." And then we'll get into an English conversation. But English is not the first thing that they're going to approach you with. Unless you're in some kind of formal setting, then of course English comes out first. But the language of the people, it is Kiswahili. So now I'm learning how to say a few things in Kiswahili, so to make sure that I don't feel too much like an outsider. Okay? All right. So we're talking about the language, but we can't even stop there because there are 42 tribes in Kenya. That's of note, right? Each tribe has their own language. So if you are, say, Kikuyu, like I am now, because I'm married to a Kikuyu man, you will speak the Kikuyu language. If you are Kisi, you speak Kisi. If you are Luya, Luya. If you are Masai, Masai. But I also found out that within some of these cultures, some of these tribes, they have sub-languages. So if you're from one side of the grouping, one area, you have your own sub-language, and somebody on the other side don't speak that language. So there's a whole lot of that going on. So languages, it's beautiful, but most times I'm like in the dark, like what is going on? Because here's the other thing. When the Kenyans speak Swahili, they also drop in some English, which thank God, because then I get into the conversation. But then they go right back out and they'll speak Swahili, or even if they're all from the same culture, they'll just jump into some cultural tongue and you're like, they're speaking 3 languages in one sentence. How does that work? So in terms of understandability, you will be understood to a degree. Also, please understand your American English is very different than the Kenyan English. What I've found is that in Kenya, they roll R's a lot. So it's almost like they speak English with a Spanish accent. Case in point, there is a mall down the street. It's called a mall, but it's really more like a plaza. But it's called Galleria. In Florida, there's a Galleria Mall. So when I saw the name, it's like the Galleria. When I told my driver, he says, Galleria. I don't know what you're talking about. Then he says, oh, Galleria. And it's Galleria. I went for service somewhere the other day and I wanted to get a ride back on my Uber. And the gentleman says, okay, where are you going again? And I told him where. And he says, oh, where is that? Wanting to know the subdivision, the city within Nairobi. So I said, Karen, which is where we are. And he says, oh, you mean Karen? Oh, excuse me. So I'm learning to roll my R's whenever I see one, because that is really how the language is communicated. Because otherwise you can have moments when people just don't understand you and you are speaking proper English and they're speaking proper English, but just pronunciation can make all the difference in the world. And also silent B's and so on. In the English language, something like lamb, we know we don't say the B, but in Kenya, they say lamb. I'm not here to judge. I'm the outsider here. I'm the one with the accent. They're not. So you have to remember that. So I know you're going to come when I tell you some of the wonderful things that are happening, but just remember, you're the one with the accent. This is Kenya. They don't have an accent. Figure that out and understand that. All right. So while we're talking about the silent B in the English language, OMG, in Kenya, every place, every person has a silent N or a silent M in their name. Okay. So I went to a place called Njoro. Notice I say Njoro because it's spelled Njoro. There is the N is really not silent, but there are 2 consonants next to each other. And there's no vowel in between. What am I supposed to do? So most times I just simply say Njoro, Njoro. And people say, Njoro. So now you just mouth it and you just, Njoro. One of the names in my husband's name is Juguna, but there is an N in front of a J. Can somebody pray for me? And not to mention, there are all kind of silent M's everywhere. So you think you're saying something and you won't ever get it. And there are just some days that I'm trying and I said, listen, I just have to get to the point. And I said, listen, I have an American tongue. Just pray for me. And they laugh and we're good about it. But just remember, you're the one with the accent. They're not. All right. The other thing, as we're talking about accents, the Kenyan people are very nice. They love Americans. They really love Americans. And let me tell you, they love, 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 love Jamaicans. So I am like a proper celebrity right now because I'm like the mix of two of the things that they love the most. So when, you're in the grocery store, you're in a public place and you speak, of course, they hear, oh, you're American. They know you're a foreigner or where you're from. And so there's a wonderful treatment I get when I go to the grocery store. Because listen, I don't know where anything is. And the labels and brands are not all the same like they are in the US. So I might know a brand that I like. I don't ask for it. I just ask for, like last night, I asked for spray starch. That is still yet to be found. And I've already gone to 2 grocery stores. So I've got 2 more to go. Pray for me. But anyways, everybody decides to help. They get up and they're in one aisle and they walk you over to the other. And they will walk you to the place where they expect to find this thing. So I came home. I said to my husband, oh my goodness, honey, the people are so nice. They're so accommodating. When I'm in the store, he says, yes, because you're an American, we hear your accent. And so because we love Americans, we will do that for you. Even people that are shopping. I remember one day I was at the register already and I forgot ice cream. Now, if you know me, you know I love ice cream. You can tell I love ice cream. So anyways, I went for ice cream. I said to a lady that was in the line behind me, I said, what's a good ice cream brand that I can choose? And she said, oh, I will take you there. She stopped cashing out to take me to the aisle to get me the brand that she loves the most. Isn't that wonderful? And when I tell people that I'm from Jamaica, they go into a whole nother place. They're like, oh my goodness, I have never met a Jamaican. Now here's what's going on with this Jamaican love in Kenya. Kenyans love reggae. Ay, ay, ay. Wewe. And I'll tell you about Wewe later. They love reggae. They love reggae so much, they don't even have to know what it's saying. Some old reggae that I don't think I listened to. Maybe my dad listened to as a boy. It's still playing around here like nobody's business. And I would say, that's an old song. And they're like, we don't care. We love it. We roll it. Okay, fine. But then there is this other situation. I'm in the grocery store. It is a big grocery chain and they're playing some dance hall Jamaican music. Let me sit down up here and tell you about it. Dance hall, raunchy, outrageous. And I'm looking at my sister-in-law and I said, that song isn't good. And she says, what do you mean? It's a good song. And she did some shake thing to it. I said, girlfriend, why is the grocery store playing that? Guess why? They don't know what any Jamaican is saying. They do not know. They just love the beat. They love the sound and they're excited about it. So if you are Jamaican and you happen to come to Kenya and you happen to hear some dancehall, too much agwan, don't be offended. The people that are playing it have no clue. They just know it comes from Jamaica and they are going to sing it and they're going to play it and whatever. So I spent one evening with my husband and his friends and I spent the time dissecting and explaining, because there's some things that are innuendo too, so it's not specific. I had to explain some of our songs. So I don't know if they're going to continue playing them, but we will see. So there's so many things between here and Kenya, between Kenya and the United States that are different in those aspects. The other one that you have to know about is transportation. So transportation is here, it's there, it's everywhere. You will never miss a ride because there is a ride for you. Let me go there. So there are the huge buses, they call them star buses. And you wonder, is that some fabulous bus? Yay and nay. What it is that there are these massive 50-seater buses that we call them tour buses back home. And of course, they hold 50, sometimes even more. But they are decorated from the front to the back. with pictures of all kinds of stars and mostly American pop stars. I mean, you'll see Michael Jackson, you'll see Nicki Minaj, you'll see just anybody that comes to mind. So it's really star-studded. Even though the next one down, and the fare on there, it ranges basically from, I think, 50 Kenyan shillings to maybe 100. And it sort of depends on where you're going, and it runs on the main routes. Then there's another one called Matatu. Matatu, it's the name Matatu comes from the number 3, because at one time to take a Matatu, all you need was 3 shillings. And 3, the number 3 in Swahili is tatu. I'm learning. So it's moya, mbili, tatu. Notice there's a M in the Billy, and I think I said it. So I'm telling you, all these silent M's just pop up all over the place. Anyways, so with that one, that's the middle tier. That is I kind of cringe to say a 15-seater, but it is. And then they have this wooden dole that they put between seats. Now, I'm Jamaican. I know exactly what that's about. But the wooden dole back home puts one person in that spot. Not here. That means the 15-seater, which, by the way, the driver is the 15th person. So the car that holds 14 passengers suddenly holds 16. Now, it would stress out everybody everywhere else. But the other thing about Kenyans is that they tend to be very slim people, which is a blessing. I've lost 6 pounds since I've been here. 1 month, I've done nothing. I've eaten. I eat still because the food, there's no difference there. The food is well seasoned, it's well spiced. It gives me Jamaican vibes every day. I even found oxtail in the market. Listen to me. Things that I'm accustomed to eating in Jamaica that I find in the States with no problem, I find them here in Kenya. So that's not a difference. But the difference is that in the States, we have all kinds of, Lord, I can't even find my word. Preservatives. There we go. And so you eat the same portion, it's going to do something different. I'm eating the same kinds of foods. And here I've lost six pounds. I thought my scale was broken. Maybe it was because I was moving it between pounds and grams, but that wasn't the case. I literally lost 6 pounds. Don't I look fabulous? Another month, you might be wondering, is she running for the runway? I might be. So now the third one is Boda Boda. The Boda Boda is a bike. Now, Lord have mercy. Talk about a difference. That is such a major difference. It's a bike, but please don't think it's a bike like every other bike, because the things that I've seen on Boda Bodas don't even make sense. I had to start doing some investigating to find out how in the world do you get a bike to hold a sofa. I saw a guy sitting on a sofa sideways. The bike rider is here and the sofa is here. And the owner of the sofa, he's sitting up in the middle like kingpin. The sofa was orange, so it just blew my mind. I had to ask the driver, did you see what I just saw? Because everybody else was in the back, because now I drive in the front because I've got to see where I'm going, know where I'm going, understand what's happening. And by the way, there are no street signs. So even if you're following your GPS, forget about it. Your GPS is going to tell you, turn on street XYZ. There is no label. The street doesn't have a sign. I just pray for you. And I have to ask the driver, how do you know? Well, I know that's that street, and I know that street. Okay. So if you're a foreigner, do yourself a favor. Take a Star Bus, take Matatu, even take a Boda Boda, but just don't drive. Just save yourself. I did it one day and it's enough. It's enough. But anyways, the ones I just mentioned, they're really for locals, because I'm telling you, the 50-seater will have 70 people in it easily. The 14/16-seater, I've seen 20 people in those things. I promise you.